days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. Today is May 13th, 2026, when the civil case for the Walmart mass shooting will be in court. It will be in court. Can you believe it? So, our son, of course, 2,109 days ago, was taken from his barracks room down to the arms room, soundproof room, taken. His life was taken from him. Why? Because he was a whistleblower in the Walmart mass shooting case, okay? In the Walmart, and it is one um agency for the evidence, for the evidence. And the evidence has been deleted. Now, they could go back and they can remake that with, remake the evidence with the footprint, the digital footprint. Um, but the evidence has been withheld, scrubbed, sealed. Look, you have the alleged shooter, Patrick Crusius, his brother-in-law, working inside the FBI right now, at that time and right now. You have double-crossing, dirty, backstabbing Assistant District Attorney John Briggs that tampered and deleted files in the Walmart mass shooting. We have evidence, clear evidence that confirms that the Walmart mass shooting was orchestrated and staged. Was it bloody? Yes. Did people really get shot? Yes. But was it what they told us? No. It was orchestrated and staged. You cannot have a civil case come out without any media attention on this. There should be media all over this, all over this. And who is this judge? It is just absolutely jaw-dropping that the media has not covered that this civil case for the Walmart mass shooting with Michael Maiella, his triple conflict of interest, really, I would say it's a quadruple conflict of interest because his father was the El Paso federal courthouse manager managing Judge David Campos Guadarrama. Wow. I'm eh, I mean, I hate to say shocked because nothing shocks me in this. 6 years, the depth of lawlessness, depravity, murder, because more information is coming out that they have no consideration, no understanding for life, respect for life, um, and the consequences that are baked in by God, right? Baked in by God when you are that way. You see, they can try to cover up and delete and kill and maim and intimidate and threaten. They can continue money laundering, embezzling, but there are consequences for that already baked in. You can't get away with it. You can't get away with it. And so many people, justice, you know, it's part of the air we breathe, the water we drink. It is just there. And these very evil people that are rebels against God, think they try to get away with it and they can't. And here we are, no press, no press, no media coverage that the civil case for the Walmart mass shooting is moving forward today. And guess what? We are covering it. It's amazing. It is, they want to hoodwink the public. They want to pull a fast one on the public. They want to um, cheat the public. They, because, and I'm telling you this because the the people in the Walmart mass shooting civil case need to be investigated because the case was orchestrated. It was staged. And there needs to be an investigation in the people that want to sue Walmart. This civil case stinks to high heaven. Stinks to high heaven. And maybe they are absolutely great, wonderful, but something it tells me that some people that are up to no good snuck in, and they want a payoff. And what are they covering up? What are they covering up? That they don't want to mention Michael Maiella? They don't want to mention Patrick Crusius's father, John Blake Crusius, or Brian what is his name? He is so suspicious in all of this. And the Maiellas are so suspicious in all of the, I mean, well, they're guilty. They're absolutely guilty. There's no if, ands, and buts about the whole thing because you've got Michael Maiella working in the FBI office right now while the Walmart was going on. He was in the DA's office. I mean, Jaime Esparza, the DA at the time, has some explaining to do. And then he was working for cybersecurity for Walmart. Their security at the time. And his father is in the federal courthouse managing the very judge overseeing the federal Walmart mass shooting case. And now we have the civil case. And they don't want to, I mean, there seems like they're sealing and they're hiding evidence. Who is this judge that's allowing this? This is and I hope that everyone shares this information because this is an attack on the public. Because the public has every right to know that this is happening. And the media is covering this up and not reporting on it. And when I review it even more, you know, I'm in a little bit of a shock that media did not cover this. And Christopher Ernest Grant, or is he even going to be there? Because I thought he was arrested for like the umpteenth time. Multiple times he's been arrested. He's a very suspicious person in the whole thing because he was attacking President Trump. And he was meeting with Governor Abbott. And then, of course, well, others that are involved in this, it just, um, wow, the El Paso courthouse, it needs a good investigation. It needs accountability. That's what it needs. So let's go to. I'm going to have to let this absorb, but you don't have much time to because it's today. It's today. I hope people go into that case and say, what about Michael Maiella? What about the DA, the assistant DA, John Briggs, deleting evidence? What about that? That all needs to be in the civil case because it all comes from the same pool of evidence, the same pool of evidence investigation, the same investigators. Oh, I tell you, somebody that this is their job to do could describe it so much better. I'm saying to everybody, we got the information. Nobody else is reporting it. Here it is. And it's a travesty of justice. And they're not mentioning Michael Maiella. They're not mentioning the assistant DA, John Briggs, that deleted key evidence, critical evidence in the Walmart mass shooting case. They're not mentioning Patrick Crusius's father and his connections, his family connections, and their connections to El Paso and the injustice, the botched case that this whole thing has been. Yeah. I think this stinks like a payoff to me. That's what this stinks like. Because if it was about justice, if it was about getting victims their justice in, then it would be plastered all over the media and they would be able to speak and we would be able to see the evidence. But they're keeping this hush hush and it's so dirty and they're not mentioning the evidence or the conflicts of interest or the tampered evidence or the deleted evidence. And it just stinks like this is a payoff. It's a payoff for the orchestration, for the staged crime scene. Is that what this is? For the political hit on President Trump afterwards? Is this a payment for that? Those are the questions that need to be asked and answered. And then true justice. So let me show you a picture of the judge. This is the judge, Sergio Enriquez, who is going to be today hearing this case. And wow, there's John Briggs. He's so dirty. Zero media. And here's Michael Maiella with his FBI little jacket on. Of course, that's his brother-in-law sitting on his shoulder. And here is this is let's see if I can move in to the date. I don't think it goes any further, but right here it says May 13th, 2026, and then May 14th, 2026. And then it's going to be in July, July 8th. So, and then here, motion to seal records, motion to exclude, that's excluding evidence. What? They're excluding the deleted evidence? They're excluding the evidence of Michael Maiella? I mean, this is so criminal. This is so criminal. Yeah. And here he is. This is the judge, Sergio Enriquez, that is overseeing this crime, right? Overseeing this travesty of justice. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I don't know how I can go on with the next story, but because it's all so big, and let me make sure that I can see your comments because it is late, and but we're just getting all this information
Is
in.
he even going to be there? Because
Okay, so here is Laura. Let me read through some of these comments. If the FBI is still dirty, what makes us think the rest agencies are not in on it? I know my hello demons, President Donald Trump, please dismantle Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. Um, yes. Fifth grade, yes. Um, yeah, it's, I just don't understand everything, but I do understand that it's an injustice for Laura Rodriguez. I understand that. Sergio, so many corrupt judges need to be removed from office. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think that that was part of this infiltration is to get the DAs, to get the judges, to compromise police, to compromise military soldiers. We know that they were compromising the soldiers by sending in the young girls into the barracks room and then pimping them out and then filming it. And then, the soldiers don't even know how young they are. And then that can be held against them and blackmail and everything. So, and then the drugs and the alcohol. I mean, they put the alcohol, the class six, right next to the barracks. I mean, they're just tripping them all the time. Um, yeah. So, so let's talk about this Shield of the Americas. I think it's really important because it's 17 nations now, 18 if you count both Trinidad and Tobago, right? Um, this is the America's Counter Cartel Coalition. And there are some comments already on there saying, oh, well, you can't do this because then it might be turned on you or whatever. And no, look, we are in very, I mean, we need all the help we can get to fight these cartels. Okay. They have been for decades um, growing and establishing themselves and into the business world, property. Um, it's so overwhelming sometimes in the military. Look, in the governments, they have infiltrated, and not just Mexico and not just the United States. And people was, oh, the United States, they're the biggest traffickers, and Mexico's the biggest trafficker. And then you get um, uh, uh, other places saying the same thing. And it's like, well, because we've been infiltrated by by this the money that it's making and the misery and the misery. And so, I don't call the United States innocent. I don't call Mexico innocent. We've been infiltrated. And to have all these other countries that um, want to gather to combat cartel, is it a risk? 100% it's a risk. Is it worth the risk? I think it is because what's the alternative? We have a 20-story high-rise tower with a helipad on it right on the border, directly on the border, giving the cartels access to our case files and pointing directly at Fort Bliss. and Fort Huachuca and White Sands. And we know because of Richard's case that they're in the military, that they're not just in the military in low levels, but that they're officers, that they are flag officers. We know that eh, they are in our legal system and our law enforcement system. And yeah, it's just in our business world, in our fuel. And so, is this risky? We would be foolish not to do it. That President Trump is doing it, is gathering up the people around the Western Hemisphere. This is the Western Hemisphere to combat the cartel in our hemisphere. Is a You got to give it a try. And we have the weapons, and he's saying we'll give you the weapons. And we know that Ecuador, along with Peru, they already um, did some very, very incredible arrests and everything. And this is the shield of America. So, and he means business. President Trump means business with it because the cartel are ruthless. They eat humans. They're ruthless. So, this is a risk that we have to take. I believe we have to take, and I'm not a warmonger. I'm not a warmonger, but we are in big trouble for being too nice and too sold out with these contracts and the easy money. So we've really, really have hurt our countries. And so it's time for us to rally now. Rally for our countries against those that want to infiltrate and not respect the Mexican sovereignty and also the American Constitution. Wow. Absolutely. So these are amazing, amazing countries. Amazing. I've wanted to go to all of these countries. Here's the Bahamas and the Dominican Republic. Notice that Puerto Rico is not signed on because Puerto Rico, remember, is Little St. James and Large St. James, right? Very interesting here. And then, of course, Cuba's not signed on and Haiti's not signed on. Remember the human trafficking, the child trafficking coming out of Haiti, Haiti's children. Okay. Then you have, so the ones in boxes: United States, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Belize, Guatemala, Jamaica, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, El Salvador, Ecuador, Peru, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Bolivia, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina. These are all that are part of the Shield of Americas. They're all part of this group that can ask the United States for missiles, can ask the United States to target. I mean, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Some of the things that President Trump uh, uh, told them in this agreement is that, we'll get rid of them. We need your help, but you're going to have to use your military and we'll give you the weaponry. we'll give you any weaponry you want, right? That's what he tells them. Wow. Um, he says, well, you can read my comments here because I don't know if I can on live, but this is a charter, um, and I put up parts of articles that have been covered of this event. Um, it's the aerial strikes. Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about this on the live stream because I don't want any kind of misconstrue, right? Misconstrue. Yeah. So I did post it up. Yeah. No new wars. Mr. No New Wars. Um, yeah. Well, I think this is really worth the risk. And sometimes you're at war whether you want it or not. Whether you want it or not, whether you admit to it or not. And 6 years, I can tell you, we're at war. What they did to Richard was an act of war. When you take a soldier and you forcibly remove him and you take his life on a military base and then steal his body and desecrate it and traffic it across the border to international and then cover up everything. Yeah, it's an act of war. So whether I want it to be or not, and believe you me, I did not want any of this to happen. I want my son. Now I have to settle for my son's remains. So the other thing is the Mexican media is covering it. I don't see too much of the American media covering it, and that is the English media, that is. That Jose Luis Ariano Caron is in El Paso. We've been telling you that now, right? We've been telling you we're right all along. Now they're admitting to it that he fled to El Paso. So we made everybody aware of that when it happened. We had sightings of him and his Audi there in El Paso. They're established in El Paso. His mom lives in El Paso. They have businesses in El Paso, Argo Oil and Gas in El Paso. They have restaurant. Well, you know, I can't say that they still have them because they've been slowly um, disassociating themselves from them, I guess, taking their name off of them. Um, because they're in big trouble. I hope they're in big trouble. They need to be in big trouble. Think about what they did. Think about what they do. Because if they do that to bodies, over 400 bodies, and all the fraud that went with it, and the tampering with all the death certificates, right? And all of that terrible stuff that they do. What else do they do in their businesses and in their oil and gas? You know, it's they don't change their color. If they're going to be fraudulent in one, they're fraudulent, and I think suspicious of being fraudulent in all of it. So what about the taxes? And is there tax fraud? Is there do they have their licenses? Do they have permits? They didn't have licenses and permits and for Plenitud crematorium. Do they have licenses and permits for their bars and for their restaurants and all that stuff? And it hurts others that do follow the law and have to spend all that kind of money and then they don't have to. I mean, there's just so many questions here, and they need to be held accountable. I think the highest penalty needs to be given to them for how they've treated people's family members and victims' remains, and uh, gave construction material for ashes. I mean, really? I mean, these are very despicable people. I don't even think that you call them people. I think they're animals. I think they're monsters. They're monsters. So now they're admitting to what we know. And of course, it's personal to us because that's the place where evidence indicates they have our son's partial remains, because they're absolutely connected to La Diabla, to organ harvesting, to baby harvesting, selling babies in the black market. They're absolutely connected to that. Another thing is a El Chapo style tunnel was found inside a Pemex facility. Pemex is the public owned fuel for Mexico. So this is the people's fuel. Okay. And this tunnel, they're saying, was used to siphon and steal the fuel. And this tunnel is right there on the Texas border. So, very sophisticated tunnel, an El Chapo style tunnel. So, is that Pan Party? Because anytime you see El Chapo, you can see El Maru, Maria Eugenia Campos, Maru Campos's Pan Party. Yeah. So they're also calling for her removal. Okay. The Morena party is calling for Maru Campos's um, removal, and they're going to have a massive march in Chihuahua. Um, so, this is really, really good news, because she has a lot of blood on her hands, y'all. Yeah. And a lot of stolen money in her pockets. Um, yeah. And I can say that with confidence because it's already documented. Um, Trump goes to China. Okay. And I wanted to point this out because, I've been saying that Iran is really the gateway to China. And we know through Nadal Bayim that the Strait of Hormuz and Iran, Qatar, all of that was the big pipeline that came into Mexico for these precursor drugs or chemicals to make these synthetic drugs that are so deadly, and it was very big business. And so mainly these precursors come from China. And so what were they trading? Guns for, or other things. They were for the precursors for these drugs, and then selling them on the street. Um, so President Trump going there, he absolutely knows this. Uh, and, uh, it is not a guess that in the context of our case and our cause, and that would absolutely be a subject. Okay, because this is what the Strait of Hormuz is partially about, is what's traded there. And absolutely, fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction. It has been officially designated as a weapon of mass destruction by the Trump administration. So This is very important to him. He absolutely knows it. And those precursors to make it come from China. And of course, Iran is a gateway for China. And we know that through these communications we've had that they really influence Iran a lot. I think Iran is kind of like a captured country too. And so, and by the actions that President Trump has, is very patient um, actions that he has in these brutal, vicious negotiations. Um, he really doesn't want to go after Iran because he knows that it is just a gateway, right, for uh, who's really controlling all of this. And so he's going to China. He, you know, he might already be there. And it's going to be very interesting the next couple days. What, of course, he doesn't leak. His administration doesn't leak. They're very, very, very seldom. I don't think much at all that they leak. And when they do, when something like that happens, they're right on it. They don't tolerate leaking. And so we'll see his announcements, what he says about it. And it absolutely has to do with Mauro Campos and this whole thing that's happening in Mexico and into the United States. The trafficking, the cartels are in the United States. And I've admitted that over and over again. I call the major cartel in the United States the El Paso cartel. I don't say, oh, it's a Sinaloa cartel in the United States or it's a CJNG cartel in the United States. I say it's the El Paso cartel in alliance with the Sinaloa, in alliance with the CJNG, that made a pact with them that allowed them to come in, and that the El Paso cartel have them under their thumb. Have them under their thumb. The Sinaloa, the CJNG, the Juarez, those are the ones that I know that they have under their thumb. And they made a pact. And that's why they can get visas and they can get driver's license and they can get homes and bank accounts and that, because they made a pact with the El Paso cartel. And the El Paso cartel are the ones that are really up to no good and absolutely connected to the CIA agents that were killed, and also connected to the Mormon colonies in Chihuahua. Very much so. Which is La Linea, which the last tunnel that was, I think, January 2026, or maybe, yeah, that was discovered in Chihuahua, right there on the border of El Paso, was La Linea. I believe so. And so La Linea is an arm of the cartel. So absolutely part of the Nova Casa Grandes Mormon faction colonies. So double citizenships, yes. Yes, Clinton has ties to Haiti. And also, the lady that got killed with the ICE agent in the winter, she had ties to Haiti children. The one that they were, posting her picture, wanting to make a hero out of. Yeah. Um, Yeah. There's a lot of shielding going on because, they want this money, right? They want this money um, because President Trump has really turned off the spigot in so many ways. So we'll see what happens today. It's, I, really hope that through our announcement, and please share it, that some people will go to the courthouse. We're so far away, we can't go to the courthouse, but absolutely, I hope that there will be some people with eyes on the ground there. Um, that would be totally amazing because that is a botched case, 100%. And it was orchestrated and it was staged and yeah, it stinks. It stinks like a payoff to me. So, okay, we have been one fierce fabulous. Oh, thank you. You have been one fierce fabulous mama bear. Thank you so much. Yes, it should be. Richard matters. Absolutely. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much. Um, so what has happened is we know that Alejandra de la Vega, if you're new joining, she is a double citizen. She is a double agent. She was working for both the Abbott administration along with the Pan Party administration in Chihuahua, the governor's administration, and sat on committees for intelligence and law enforcement for the border. And this is all when the border was 500,000 children being trafficked through the border. All these drugs, all the weapons, all the parts, lots of ammunition. Um, of course, now we know with La Diabla that it was organ harvesting also and babies also. So just really very demonic there. And she was on the committees for law enforcement and everything. And now she had absolutely a hand in building the $1.27 billion surveillance network along the border, which includes the Torre Centinela, the 20-story tower with the helipad right on the border that is pointing right at Fort Bliss and also includes Fort Huachuca and employs is equipped with foreign equipment. Okay, it's equipped with foreign surveillance equipment and um, also employed with the Pegasus software, okay, which they have been employing the Pegasus software for years. They were known, Mexico was known for using the Pegasus software. So look that up, and that is, listening in. They can listen into any phone call, and then to make it AI, because the tower is an AI operation. And that is, they can listen, they can surveil all your phone calls, collect all the data, and then you use the AI to organize it, right? To be the big search engine for the data that they collect. It's the memory, right? It's the memory. The water is the memory. That's why they need a lot of memory, a lot of water, because water holds memory. And they don't even understand how it totally works. They just know that it is the huge storage of it and that it will organize and be the big search engine for all the data that they collect and um, make it powerful, make it very powerful tool. So that's going on at the border, and Abbott Governor Abbott of Texas signed the treacherous, treasonous treaty with Maru Campos to allow this to happen. And it is a national security alert, an alert. And you see that we do need to take that risk for other countries to we need to gather together for our countries and fight against the cartel. And that means also probably economical, through economics also, because the cartel really was infiltrating the economies. So, yeah. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for all your love, for all your kind words. And please don't get your feelings hurt if I don't get back with you right away. I try to read everything. Um, it is a lot going on behind the scenes, and also, um, we're at a federal level here. Maru Campos is being investigated federally, and it needs to be federal. And what President Trump is doing is at a federal level. And that is so important for people to understand so that we can really get accountability. Because this is so big. They've spent decades growing this monster pipeline, and of course Jeffrey Epstein was part of that, right? With Zorro Ranch and everything, and slowly but surely, um, it's being unraveled. It's being unraveled. So thank you so much. God bless you, and please share. And if you know someone that's close to the courthouse, the El Paso County Courthouse, you might want to check in with this Walmart mass shooting civil case today. Okay, thank you so much. God bless you, and I'll be back tomorrow.